What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks MLB. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Got another home run through right out of the gate. First at bat, Matt Olson. Hopefully you heard my analysis. Him and Sean Murphy. I was always going to be betting both of them. We got a really good number on Matt Olson, north of plus 300 against any righty, especially one like Nick Pivetta, who gives up power. That was great. Sean Murphy got hit in his first at bat. We'll see how things continue on in that game. Looking forward to it, but hey, always good to get the day started off with a big one. And that was a half unit one, just throwing it out there. Good stuff from Mr. Matt Olson. It's like we should be invested in this Braves team from time to time going yard. But we're back here with another edition for Wednesday, and we just had the Yankees game go over. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful time for Bet365. Won't you sign up? Won't you sign up? Down in the video description box below, without the, weird won't you be my neighbor stuff. You simply sign up down there in that video description box below. Deposit $10 or more, you bet $1, and you're going to get yourself $200 in bonus bets. That's a ridiculous deal. It's only available, unfortunately, in 4 states: Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, and Virginia. But if you're located in one of those 4 states, congratulations. You have the best sportsbook offer that I know of going on right there in the video description box below. So click on that. Sign up here now. Great stuff from Bet365. Only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But 15 games again. I know producer Jacob's excited about it. So yeah, we're getting pumped, baby. Another full slate. Every team going, and kind of a wild deal with the locks. We'll talk about that as we go, and pretty much when we get to the very end of the video, that's for sure. Wild back-to-back coming up here for us in that department. But 15 games, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get to the picks. Let's get our day started off in a very weird fashion. It's Kyle Muller, who's terrible on the mound for the Oakland Athletics, going into Yankee Stadium, taking on Johnny Brito, who is also terrible. Can I tell you the ways that they are both bad? Let's start with Muller. 331 expected batting average, 50.8% hard hit percentage, and just a 12.8% K rate. But Johnny Brito, not much better. 277 expected batting average, better in the hard hit department, but a 393 xWOBA. PU. Both of these guys walking more than 10% of batters so far this season. Neither one of them have a plus pitch that I'm really all that excited about. Kyle Muller, he's a fastball guy for 50% of the time, and 50% of the time it doesn't work, which is bad when, this is baseball, where if you succeed a third of the time, you're an all-star and in the Hall of Fame forever and ever. Amen. Or I guess nowadays it's more important to just have tons of power and hit 200. Kyle Schwarber way. But either way, we're going to continue targeting this situation because, well, I don't know what else to do. I mean, it's Yankee Stadium, small ballpark. Hey, we just went over in that one. Beautiful stuff. Gleyber Torres goes yard. We're going to hit an over there in that one. It's bottom 5, 7-2 Yankees. It's a nice way to get it started off on the card for Tuesday. But for Wednesday, I'm going a little bit different with my approach there. As I look at the over-unders, nothing screamed over on that one, with 9.5 being the prevailing number. If you can find some 9s there that aren't juiced minus 120, which is the best available number, go ahead and fire that one up. But 9.5 and minus 110 is the best I've got right now. And I think we want to stay away from that, but disgustingly, horribly, awfully, going to be backing Oakland plus 1.5 for plus money. Yeah, you heard me. It feels awful because, well, it's an Oakland team that doesn't have starting pitching, and then they have the worst bullpen by a landslide. Only team over at 6 xFIP as a bullpen this season. It's basically like traveling Coors Field on wheels. That's the Oakland bullpen. But I can't tell you enough how important it is to have good starting pitching. And these Yankees, they got rid of Jordan Montgomery. They're waiting on Carlos Rodon to get up there. They basically are just riding Garrett Cole's coattails. And yes, they got Aaron Judge back today. Does he immediately play on back-to-backs? I got to assume he's good to go, but still something that could work out in your favor there. Still no Giancarlo Stanton, and, well, that matters. Oakland has Brent Rooker, Ryan Noda, M. Shinoda. That was Lincoln Park days. Those are good stuff. But either way, J.J. Bleday, he'll be in there up against Johnny Brito as well, batting cleanup more than likely again, and Oakland's had a better-than-expected offense this season, so there you go. I don't feel good about it, but it's what the spreadsheet says, and it's smarter than me. So Oakland plus 1.5. I like it at plus money. God, I feel like I need to take a shower after that first game. You know what? At least it's just a lean here, and I don't have to do anything with these two disgusting pitchers. Antonio Senzatella, who senses nothing when it comes to pitching, and Rich Hill, who is over the hill, quite literally. He's 100 years old, and he's still throwing baseballs. Now, he's been more effective this season going along the line. 573 expected slugging, still horrendous, but just a 6.7% walk rate. He's got to limit those kind of things to make it work, but a 4.54 ERA is nothing compared to his absurd 6.91 expected ERA. And we should know by now, Colorado, they've got a couple of guys in that lineup. They like to hit long balls against lefties, specifically CJ Cron, Chris Bryant. Those are the main guys to highlight from that one. But it's not like I want to do anything with Antonio Senzatella on the other side of this one with his 422 expected slugging, just 16.7% K rate. I mean, nothing egregious so far this season, but still a 5.24 expected ERA last year, 4.17 expected ERA this season. The 1.80 ERA, that's not fooling anybody. And, well, there are some lefties who can punish you from Pittsburgh. We have seen that time and time again so far this season's friends. Don't let friends bet this game. It may be a spot, depending on the CJ Cron, Chris Bryant numbers, to take a dabbling on the total bases on the lovely little homers there. But Pittsburgh, not the best spot for power, unless you're Anthony Rizzo back with a Cubs jersey on. He could hit it out of here every single time, but whatever. Over 8.5 is the lean. These pitchers are not good. I expect them to, going forward, just continue to be bad and get closer to their expected ERAs, but lots of better spots on the board. I always love when we get Love as a Battenfield out there. Yeah, we got Peyton Battenfield and these Cleveland Guardians hosting Eduardo Rodriguez, and Guardians of the Galaxy 4 is what this might be if they can find a way to get wins with Peyton Battenfield, who I don't find to be a very good pitcher. 50.7% hard hit percentage and a 380 xWOBA is not sustainable. I look at some of his barrel numbers, and he's going to get tuned up very, very quickly in a couple of these spots. And his 4.07 ERA, it's also a far cry similar to Rich Hill with a 6.32 expected ERA. That is just, ugh. That's 386 pitch sample size. That's not nothing so far. He's had enough starts where we should be seeing better numbers, but we're not. So we're going to target him in times when it makes sense, but it's not like the numbers don't show this. And Detroit, they're terrible against righties. So I'm not going to go out of my way. Somebody yesterday decided to tell me that Detroit had gone nuts the last 3 games, and I understand how that can be a reasonable line of thinking. But over the course of this season, they are the 5th worst team in baseball against right-handed pitching with an 80 WRC plus and just a 123 ISO, also the 5th worst in baseball. Those are things I care about way more than what somebody did yesterday. We're starting to get we're now over a month of sample size. We can kind of tell who a couple of these teams are going to be going forward. Some surprises. I would say Pittsburgh, Texas. We've had a number of lineups in Tampa Bay just nuking every slate. In terms of the long ball, there are lots of opportunities, it would seem, to say that there are improvements to lineups and kind of know what we're going to get going forward. But this feels like a spot where Detroit, we kind of know who they are and we want to be staying away. So I think the under makes sense, especially with Eduardo Rodriguez on the other side for Detroit, a 27.6% hard hit percentage, 258 xWOBA. He has been a bright spot for Detroit. Oh my God, they might have a trade asset once again. That's probably what they should have done with him 2 years ago when he had a 3.47 expected ERA and looked pretty good in 2021. Last year was rough, 4.20 expected ERA, but a 2.70 expected ERA this season. I like what we're seeing from him. Hard not to for the 30-year-old, and well, that's a trade chip. And Detroit is like 48 pieces away from a World Series getting back there again. Yeah, the Justin Verlander days. But anyway, under 8, just a lean, not going to be betting it. We'll be betting this one. It's the Dodgers. It's the Brewers. Obviously, some weird things happened the other night, and everybody let me know about it, even though I got exactly what I was looking for from the starting pitchers. We had 6 innings, 1 earned for Freddie Peralta, 6 innings, 0 earned for, it's just so stupid when that kind of stuff happens. Gosselin was awesome. Tony Gonsolin was awesome, and you have an error, 3 earned run shot, or 3 not earned run. Can you tell I'm tilted? I'm tilted. It's okay. We're going to move on, though, because this is a forward-looking show. We've got the Dodgers and Brewers, and an interesting little pitching situation with Clayton Kershaw, southpaw, facing Wade Miley, also southpaw. One's really good. One historically has not been. I'll let you guess which one. Wade Miley, though, a 2.31 ERA so far this season. I expect negative regression against pretty much any good offense. However, the Dodgers been unexpectedly bad against lefties. Talked about with Eric Lauer. However, Eric Lauer giving up power to everybody at least, and Chris Taylor moving up in the lineup. Finally, why are you batting him ninth against lefties? It made no sense to me all season long. What did they do? Move him up to cleanup today. Hits a bomb right off the bat. God. Whatever. I'm not going to manage a baseball team. They won't let me have that job. But an 86 WRC plus is not good for the Dodgers. However, I don't really care because Wade Miley is that kind of a guy where he's not all that good. And it seems like the Dodgers are learning from their mistakes from the first couple of lineups that they've thrown out against lefties, and not a huge amount of sample size. You got to remember, you're not going to face as many lefties over the course of a season as you are righties, more than likely. It would be very unlikely for that to happen with the number of righties compared to lefties. It's just simple math, people. But anyway, Clayton Kershaw, another lefty. He's rather good at pitching and continues to be into his 100th year of age as well. Similar to Rich Hill, but like the good version. A 284 xWOBA, 33.6% hard hit percentage, and a 28.4% K rate, coupled with his ever so present low walk rate. Yeah, just a 5.9% walk rate, which would actually be the highest of his career, which is just hilarious to say out loud. That's how good he is. So, Dodgers, -1.5. I get it. This series has hurt my feelings once, but I'm getting plus money to back the run line on a road Dodgers team who gets the ninth inning bump. And anytime you're talking about some of these run lines, remember, at least if it goes into the top section of the top of the ninth, you have the opportunity to get 2, 3, 4 runs through singles and rallies and things of that nature. Whereas the bottom of the ninth, you only get there through a home run when you're betting run lines. Remember that. It's a very, very small edge, but my spreadsheet has about a 3% adjusted number for it. And that, my friends, is good enough for me to be hammering this number for a borderline lock, but we're not going to be hitting it that hard. Just the half unit plus money, Dodgers -1.5. Another play? Oh, look at this. We're starting to get some momentum as we go to Miami and Arizona. One of my guys, Merrill Kelly. Oh, Merrill Kelly. Starting to get the strikeouts back. It's good. Going up against Edward Cabrera, who overall, kind of some interesting numbers from him. We'll go through them. 29.7% K rate. Yay. 17.6% walk rate against a team that loves to run. No. Another thing that's really good. We feel really good about the opportunity to get that, what is it? Yeah, the 4.53 expected ERA. It's actually lower than the 4.78 ERA. Yet, my friends, I go through the changeup primary pitch here. 96.1 mile per hour fastball, not really ever throwing it all that much, and it gets 0 swings and misses. I don't know, just gonna have to be out there throwing a lot of changeups, and maybe that kind of tricks up some of these younger hitters in this Arizona lineup, but something tells me they won't be K'ing like crazy like we've seen from some matchups against Edward Cabrera. And Merrill Kelly, again, 25.5% K rate. Feel better about it, but also another dude who's just walking tons of dudes. 12.1% walk rate. So despite his 2.75 ERA, which has been good for me because I've backed him in a number of spots, a 4.59 expected ERA is really, really concerning for me. So the jury's out. So much so that I think this number should be closer to the 9.5 type number. So standard juice over 8.5. That seems good to me. Seem good to you? Kind of like it. It's actually -109 on Bet Rivers. I wish I had Bet Rivers. That'd be another great spot. Nobody cares? Okay, good talk. Glad we had it. Over of 8.5. Fire it up. FanDuel Sportsbook. Just a little bit above -110. Texas and Seattle coming up next, and holy pitching Batman, it is a pretty nice one for sure. We've got, well, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Don't mind me. I'm doing great, sweetie. I'm doing great. Dane Dunning on the mound here. Somebody that I think is very underrated as a pitcher, despite no Ks this season. And Luis Castillo, who I've always been in love with, hard not to. He goes from pitching in Cincinnati last year. All he did when he went to Seattle was just turn on the Jets. And he hasn't stopped yet. He looks fantastic yet again with a 26.7% K rate, 5.6% walk rate, 3.20 expected ERA, and a 2.38 actual ERA. We know the four-seamer sinker, that's the combo. That's what he relies on, and it's just been good. The four-seam usage has just been way up this season, over 10% more. excuse me, just dying, don't mind me, over 10% more than what he had in 2022. And part of that is just the ballpark. It opens up. It is fantastic for him. Now, the matchup is difficult. Texas, fourth best against right-handed pitching with a 116 WRC plus. That, of course, adjusts for ballparks. But, my friends, this ballpark is a cavern. And when you look at just a 184 ISO, which you say only a 184 ISO, it's sixth best in baseball, but it's not sitting in that 237, 225 type number you have for Tampa Bay and the Dodgers, respectively, against righties. So it's not like this ballpark, you're going to get fly balls. And if you get fly balls, you're going to be okay in Seattle for the most part. And on the other side, Dane Dunning, no case whatsoever. Sub 15%, that is what it is. But it always feels like somebody who has had that potential to turn it on, pitching more to contact this season, whether by his own decision or I don't know. Sinker cutter, never way up there in velocity, really low fastball guy, topping out around 91, 92 at most. But a 3.10 expected ERA and 1.42 ERA. He has been no doubt effective. There's not a whole lot you can look at the pitch mix and not see good things are there. He currently has a 53.3% ground ball rate. That's good enough. And a 25.3% fly ball rate is the highest of his career, but it doesn't matter again. Why? You're in Seattle. You're also facing a Seattle team that's been overall pretty disappointing. And Jared Kelenic, there you go, for whoever that was. I hope you enjoyed that. Jared Kelenic, other than him, there's just not a whole lot of lefty ammunition coming out of righty here. So under 7, as disgusting as that sounds, it's plus money right now. I thought about it, but I'm just going to be leaning here. Spreadsheet says it's a play, but I'm not feeling that confident in it. So under at plus 105 of 7, it's a trap, General Akbar style. To San Francisco for a game with an 8.5 or a 9 total just about everywhere. Kind of wild what we're running into with some of these games. And I don't completely agree with it here, but I kind of do. Here's what I'm getting at. It's an afternoon in San Francisco, which you should absolutely be adjusting for. You don't get the marine layer. It's not 40 degrees like it is every freaking night, even in July out there in San Francisco. Mark Twain once said, the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer in San Francisco. You don't give a shit. Cool. Josiah Gray, 30.6% hard hit percentage, 211 expected batting average. He's been awesome. The K's have been down for him a little bit, and I've talked about him when he went to Coors. He's always been a slider curveball guy. Now, the four-seamer usage is up a little bit, 30% now. That's decent enough where, maybe that's why the K rate isn't where it is, but everything else across the board has improved. So, hey, if you're Washington, that's what you're about, even though you're not really about winning games. Otherwise, you would have paid Juan Soto. Even though that's looking like a good decision in hindsight. Either way, San Francisco on the other side. This is probably why we're looking at the total that we are. Sean Manaea, 581 expected slugging, 418 xWOBA. Zoink Scoob. I know I did that one yesterday. I apologize to everybody who's listening for a second time, but I would be leaning the over of 8.5. But again, I'm just not feeling that confident about it. The spreadsheet again says it's a play. I think it's pretty efficient based on a couple of modelings. And then also, is every book wrong across the entire board? Because everybody else has this at 9. DraftKings has this at 8.5, juice minus 120. But I just can't pull the trigger on it. Not feeling good at that juice. If this were 8.5 minus 110, probably turns into a play for me. But as such, unless that shifts, don't fire it up tomorrow. Fire this one up, though. It's two really good pitchers on the mound here in Philly. Yet again, Manoah, it seems like he's having a decent enough first start. Nope, he's not. He's now at 5 earned. Glad I didn't pull the trigger on that one. This is why we talk through the plays, my friends. Toronto, Philadelphia, round 2 here on Wednesday. I think this is their second time. Maybe it's their third. Either way, I know it was Manoah Nola. Now it's Kevin Gausman and Zach Wheeler. I've been in love with Zach Wheeler forever. A sub 30% hard hit percentage, a 28% K rate, the four-seamer sinker slider. Everything looks great. Just a 2.9% barrel percentage this season and a 30% whiff percentage across all pitches. Hi, how are you this fine evening? He's a stud. Kevin Gausman, he's been the stud of the Toronto lineup, even though the hard hit starting to trail up a little bit again, but a 33.1% K rate, a 4% walk rate. It's wild. But my favorite thing to do when you get really good pitchers and you get inflated numbers on some of the really good hitters, especially guys who pound righties like Kyle Schwarber, is I bet them to hit long balls. See where I'm getting at with this? Sure, we got to see if Brandon Marsh ends up in the lineup there. Marsha. That was a Brady Bunch joke. Didn't see that one coming. Now, Bryce Harper, of course, is back in the mix here too. So Brandon Marsh has been out of the lineup from time to time. So be paying attention to that one. But the guy I really just want to highlight is Kyle Schwarber. He's got just a 42.4% hard hit percentage this season and a 210 expected batting average. Those are terrible numbers, but he's only 30. He's had a really tough start, just like the Phillies had to the beginning of their season. And his hard hit is down 12% from last year. I don't expect that to continue, especially as you're getting into the summer months, especially as things start heating up. He will start heating up too. So friends, I just got to tell you, I think it's about as straightforward as it gets. Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run, as long as it's north of, get this, plus 245, I have as the break-even point. It's got to be better than that. It's got to be plus 250 or better. So there you go. But it's wild to have that low of a number. Probably one of the lower numbers I've had in a long time, especially when you get such a stud like you're getting for Kevin Gausman out there on the mound. So take advantage of it. Get an inflated number. Fingers crossed on that one for us all. Leaning towards our dude, Kyle Schwarber, to hit a homer. Bet 365, damn good fight. Let me suck it to you one more time. Get low, as in go down to the video description box below. Look at that. It all ties together now. Birds of a feather now. Bet 365, only available in 4 states: Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia. Look at that. I can count to 4. If you live in one of those 4 states, congratulations. Way better to be you than to be anybody else in the other 46 states. Because why? Well, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets when you go to the video description box below, deposit $10 at Bet 365, and bet $1. Yes, just $1 on anything that they offer over there. It doesn't matter what your name is, as The Rock would say. You have an opportunity to get $200 in bonus bets for the low price of that $1 that you wager over at Bet 365. It'll go in your account instantly. Sign up now. Take advantage, my friends. It's only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Woo! Ric Flair, let's go. We go to Anaheim for Houston and Los Angeles, the Angel version, of course. Christian Javier on the mound for the road team. Griffin Canning on the mound here for the Angels. Now, Javier, much improved from the beginning of the season, where he had that really iffy outing against Pittsburgh where I didn't know what was going on. Well, he's started to right the ship, but I'm still concerned. I'm still a little bit concerned. I think he's showing some improved parts of the mix with the 4-seamer slider, but a 4.56 expected ERA is showing me he is still getting hit up a lot harder than last year. The Ks are also down from 33.2% last year to 26.1%. However, he's improved the walk rate. Seems as though he's got control over his fastball at the moment, which he throws 55% of the time. So it's kind of freaking important that you're in control of that thing. And in terms of velocity, though, it's down a mile per hour. So it's like, this is good, this is bad. This is good, this is bad. You could go with this, or you could go with that. You can go with this, or you can go with that. I'm done with that bit. But either way, I'm just telling you, Christian Javier, I think, is a phenomenal pitcher. I expect positive regression coming sooner rather than later. And the Angels, yeah, it's a tough spot, tough ballpark is what it is. But the Angels on the other side have Griffin Canning in action, and he's supposed to be the stud here for him. And 11 ground balls against St. Louis, that was good enough to help him get the win. However, 5 earned there in that spot. He hadn't given up more than 3 earned. He's gone at least 5 innings in every single game so far this season. 2-0 record, 1.33 whip. Surface stuff looks okay. It's going to have to be really good against Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez, the 2 lefties you always got to be a little bit worried about, so pay attention to it for what it is. And Griffin Canning, a 474 expected slugging. If it's going to be hot out there in LA tomorrow, you'd probably be going to be running into some issues. But it is still looking like it's going to be overcast, still looking like you have an opportunity to not have that summer hot weather. 70 degrees at first pitch for an afternoon game in Anaheim. That's good enough for me to be going on the under of 9.5. Yes, look at me, playing meteorologist. It matters. Under 9.5. I get it. Scary spot, but 8.7 being the number here, having over half a run here, a small play is in store. For We're going to Tampa Bay and Baltimore coming up here next. I was sad. Were you sad? Josh Lowe, not in the lineup there on Tuesday, which is so weird. Facing a righty, everything kind of made sense for it, but is what it is. I think we're looking at a situation where we just kind of want to go back to the well there, but I should probably talk through the entire game here. Tampa Bay, small favorites here, minus 125 pretty much everywhere. Baltimore, small home dogs. That's always an interesting kind of situation. And there's no official listed starter for Tampa Bay at a couple of books, but the ones that have numbers hung up, it's Yanni Chirinos, which until last time out, he had just been an absolute stud so far this season. Still has a 1.86 ERA, 0.78 whip. He's just showed a lot of improvements, and I don't know what to tell you. I think Yanni Chirinos might be another dude Tampa Bay just revamps and makes a stud. And have fun, AL East. Have fun. Dean Kramer, we know at this point that I don't like him very much. I don't like a lot of these Orioles starting pitching. Check this out. This is how good your offense is. The man has a 5.80 ERA, and he has a 3-1 record. I know that those are both surface stats, and neither one are my favorite way of looking at a pitcher, but I just try to encapsulate how bad he is before I get into the StatCast data that some of you go and don't enjoy very much. But I do it because this is the stuff that matters to me, and it's worked 7-8 years now at this point. But 570 expected slugging, 402 xWOBA, a sub 18% K rate. Yeah, we're going to go back to the well on Josh Lowe, shall we? I assume he's going to be in the lineup today, right? That would just be stupid if he wasn't. I'd be really, really upset. Wouldn't you? I'd be upset too. Looks like it's going to be north of 72, 75 degrees in a couple of spots. Looks like, Cincinnati, 72, Baltimore, 73. Looks like it should be some decent hitting weather there. And again, looking at those lefties going into Baltimore where they didn't change the fences on the right side of that ballpark, everything still applies, like I said last time, for a third straight day. He did it the first day. He rested on the second day. Hopefully he's ready to rock here for us, and I don't have to, revamp this one. Josh Lowe, let's run it back, my friend. To home run, a lean, a play, as long as it's better than plus 450. And again, it's going to be better than plus 450. 5 games to go. Yep, 2/3 of the way done. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. It's your first time checking out this video. Welcome. You're probably confused by some things, but again, the leans, the likes, the locks, we lean the things we talk about where there aren't numbers available, like the home run props, or things that I'm just not going to be betting because there's nothing that's projecting out well for me. Likes, usually about half a unit. Sometimes they'll be around a unit. And then the locks, those are my favorite plays on the board. This one's not one of my favorite plays on the board whatsoever. Thought I would at least cover it there because we're talking about two really good pitchers in Justin Verlander and Hunter Greene, but both have ran into a couple bits of struggles throughout this season. Now, Hunter Greene, really nice to see the ERA start to figure itself out a little bit, getting the home run problem a little bit under wraps, a little bit to give up to his last outing against the White Sox, because of course he did. But before that, he had rattled off 5 straight games without a home run, which is a little bit like, I don't know, it's like a kid not asking for candy when they go to the mall, which is a creepy thing to say. Let's go with a better analogy. It's like ordering the fish at a wedding. Who does that? Well, nobody. Why would you order the fish at a wedding? Don't do it. That's another terrible analogy. I'm trying to think of an analogy for this one. Whatever, Hunter Greene, he's just getting better. And I can't do analogies, is what we just learned at the moment. So 3.74 ERA. He has an 0-2 record. That's just hard luck for the most part because he's still a fastball throwing machine. He'll throw it up to 100, 101. It's lovely to watch. A 297 xWOBA, a 31.3% K rate. But a Mets lineup is a difficult little matchup, especially if they have guys like Francisco Alvarez going for double dongs like on Tuesday. Riddle me that one, Batman. But Justin Verlander on the other side, he's one of those pitchers where, is he over the hill? Is this going to be some really bad stuff coming up soon? I don't think so, because he has Kate Upton for a wife, and usually if you have Kate Upton for a wife, you're winning at life. But 40 years of age, 71.4% hard hit percentage in his first start. It's just one start. I'm not going to overreact. He was going back to Detroit. He was nostalgic, right? If you guys can come up with crazy narratives, I can come up with a crazy narrative too. So there you go. Is what it is. Justin Verlander, I think, is going to be just fine. Don't hit the panic button yet, but be on high alert. I just don't like the ballpark for him here either. And I know Cincinnati, no righty ammunition whatsoever. 86 WRC plus against righty so far this season. Just a 126 ISO, but kind of one of those, I'll wait, find a better spot. If I had to do anything, of course I would be backing Cincinnati. Yeah, you heard me, Cincinnati, because they have the better value. It's just a value thing. And Hunter Green, he's that dude. He's the young flamethrower, and he's the old bull. See? That was an analogy. I got it on the way out. Cincinnati money line, just a lean. We continue on as fast as possible. Forget about that segment entirely. Oh boy, this one's wild. Brian Bayo on the mound going up against Jared Schuster, who is very bad at the throwing of baseballs through 2 starts. An 8.31 ERA, 2.42 whip is like make-believe stuff. He was optioned to AAA Gwinnett, but now he's likely to get called up because Max Fried's forearm hurts and lots of problems there. So he's going to face a lot of bats here from the Boston side that can smash baseballs. However, one thing he has going for him, he's a lefty. Boston, just a 104 WRC plus against lefties. I mean, that's above average, but I'm just saying, traditionally, Boston murders righties, 3rd best in baseball, 118 WRC plus. So at least he's got the right hand to neutralize Yoshida, to neutralize Duran, to Alex Verdugo, Rafael Devers, everybody that I can think of off the top of my head. Too bad I don't have a sheet, or I could just do that. Now I do. Look at that. Would have been nice 2 seconds ago. But anyway, Brian Bayo, the well-chronicled adventures of, he's shown flashes. I like the stuff. I don't like the 51.8% hard hit percentage, 504 expected slugging, and just 23.2% K rate, which is way down from where it's been at AAA in the past. So when he's on this stint, you're going to face an Atlanta team that's a bunch of murderers out there. I'm going to be leaning his direction because of how bad Schuster is, but that doesn't feel great, so much so that it's just going to be a lean, and we continue on our merry way to the last 3 games of the night. White Sox and Royals come up here next for us, my friends, and oh boy, Lance Lynn. And it's not the Mitch Keller version, it's the Brad Keller version, is what it is. He's not as good. 15.8% K rate, 17.7% walk rate. I don't know much, friends, but I know if you walk more people than you strike out on average, probably a bad thing. Just throwing it out there. Lance Lynn, though, 28.8 or 28.6% K rate, 8.6% walk rate, much better in that regard. However, this White Sox lineup facing Brad Keller, the one nice thing they have going for them is they are terrible. Or the nice thing we have going for this play I'm about to suggest is they're terrible. An 86 WRC plus with a 141 ISO. Everything across the board is not awesome. Everything across the board is not cool when you're part of the team, as the Lego movie has taught us. So the under of 9.5 in Kauffman Stadium, compared to what you saw in that Oakland KC bomb fest that they had it was like 1 series ago for each of them. But either way, they are not that good. MJ Melendez up to a 57.1% hard hit percentage. That's a lefty that's going to be tough for Lance Lynn to get by. You have a number of lefties that can do certain things. Actually, not really. It's pretty much just MJ Melendez and Vinny Pasquantino. But otherwise, Bobby Witt, Sal Perez, the top of the KC lineup. We're going to like it all year. Just those 4, though. It gets really bleak after that. Unless Edward Olivares is actually good, in which case good for Kansas City. But I like the under of 9.5 here in this one. I repeat, it's not the summer months here in Kansas City yet. Still looks like the humidity's in check. Still looks like Kauffman Stadium to me. So the under it shall be. I was kind of nervous about getting here. I really was. I'm going to do a live check-in just because these are the things that I do. It's only 1-1, top 7. Not looking good for the first lock. That's for sure. Not looking good at all. It's a bummer. However, 4-3, St. Louis up, bottom 5, 2-on for the Cubbies. Get it done, boys. Get it done. Because we're about to go back-to-back locks. I did not plan this out. This is just simply because it's one of those things where I feel like I do a pretty good job of projecting out these teams. It's worked out well for me in a DFS perspective. It worked out well for me in a betting perspective for the most part until it would seem today. So that's a bummer. But we start in Minnesota with a pair of really good starters so far this season. Seth Lugo and Pablo Lopez. One's been a lot better than the other, but we'll start with Seth Lugo, the visitor here. He gets a decent matchup here as Alex Kirilloff dusts off the cobwebs being back in the majors here. Minnesota, just a 96 WRC plus, below average, sitting at 18th in baseball. A 170 ISO, that's a little bit up there for a team that's as far down there, but that should make sense with Joey Gallo on your baseball team from the left side. And a 25% K rate. And I think Seth Lugo is one of those guys who's going to have a couple of those spike games. And I say it a couple of times where when he has a feel for his curveball, some guys it's the fastball, but it's specifically curveball, he throws it the exact same amount as his fastball, right around 35.5% of the time. You want to be invested when he's got a good feel for it. And coming off of the last couple starts, I was going through them specifically because I had to double check my work. It's like showing your math homework in class. Same thing, explaining it out. He looked awesome against Cincinnati. Now, it was at home. Petco, really good park to pitch in, but 6 innings pitched, gave up the 1 solo jack, but 5 Ks, 7 hits, everything looked good across the board in terms of spin rate, and a 3.21 ERA, 1.34 whip. I think he can do just enough to be neutralizing enough baddies, especially because he's been all right against lefties so far this season. And yes, if Kirilloff and Gallo get a hold of one, it's going to be problematic. It just is what it is. But Pablo Lopez is so damn good. I thought about going up against the San Diego team and just taking Minnesota outright. I really did. It projects out as a decent enough play, but not nearly as good as this one. Pablo Lopez, I think, is just going to shut down everybody this year. He's got a 30.7% K rate, a 219 expected batting average, and a 285 xWOBA. He's limiting walks, sub 6%, and he is succeeding outside of Marlins Park. And part of my apprehension coming into this season was how is a pitcher who's no longer in one of the best ballparks, if not the best ballpark for pitchers, going to succeed going to target field, more of an average, but a little bit above average park for hitters. Well, he's had the best career expected ERA of his career, a 3.32 number. The ERA is not the best at 3.77. He's had better years than that in the past, but again, in target field, maybe that'll come up a little bit. I'm just saying, the four-seamer and that sweeper that he has added to his mix is just a great freaking pitch. I love it. He didn't have that in 2021, and now to be getting to that and getting away from that cutter, I feel really excited about Pablo Lopez. I think that pitch for the 27-year-old is going to end up being amazing. The velocity also added to the mix. 95 miles per hour. He was sitting around 93.6 miles per hour last year. You add 1.5 miles to an already effective pitcher, he's going to be awesome. So I'm locking the under. Yes, 8.5 is too big of a number for these two starting pitchers, and I do like our bullpen. I still like the Josh Hader and the Padres bullpen. I really feel like this is a smash. And coming off of yesterday, yes, I get it. I was on the over, had everything to do with the starting pitchers, and obviously I was wrong about that. But it's math, my friends, and I'm going to trust it. The under of 8.5, absolute lock play, my favorite on the board for Wednesday's slate. And my second favorite play on the slate is the very last game of the night. I did not plan it out this way. This is not intentional in any way, shape, or form. Early evening baseball there at Wrigley. Going to be awesome stuff. I can't wait to watch this game. Kick up, have a beer ski, have a cold brew, do whatever. But Jordan Montgomery, lefty, going up against Justin Steele, lefty. Two southpaws. They have pretty good stuff, especially Justin Steele. I'm in love with this dude. Can't believe how good he is. Miss being able to back him because some of the numbers are not good enough here. Well, they're good enough today. We'll put it that way. They haven't been good enough in other spots here. And I get it. The Cardinals, one of the worst teams in baseball so far this season, but they still got themselves a lineup and they got a killer in Paul Goldschmidt going up against any lefty on planet Earth. But still, Justin Steele, 23.3% hard hit percentage, 271 xWOBA, 320 expected slugging. These are good things. Jordan Montgomery, 293 xWOBA, 377 expected slugging, 5.1% walk rate. These are also good things. But I'm looking at this Cubs lineup, and they are projecting out really, really well going up against Jordan Montgomery, where I can't say the same about Justin Steele, considering the 23.3% hard hit percentage is a top 5 mark in baseball amongst all starting pitchers. He's been incredible in that department. And if you get this Cardinals team off balance, Wilson Contreras making a return, I'm sure they're going to be really nice to him. Paul Goldschmidt up there, 639 expected slugging, and last year over a 250 WRC plus against lefties, absurd stuff. Getting Paul DeJong going with this 57.1% hard hit percentage, that's going to be important for him. But pretty much everybody else in that lineup kind of been a disappointment here. You don't even have Tyler O'Neill there right now. It's just wild what's going on in the outfield for St. Louis. Make no sense of it, but Cubbies, you get Patrick Wisdom. Even lefty Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, switch hitter. You get Christopher Morel back in the mix, who I don't know why he wasn't up with the team to begin the season. 435 expected slugging already. Today's his first start, but that was last year's sample size. 247 batted ball events, 324 xWOBA. Again, he's just freaking good. He just strikes out a lot. I get it. Leave me alone. Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Cody Bellinger even left on left. I'm telling you, Cubbies, this number is not appropriate. We're talking minus 108 on FanDuel, inside of standard, minus 110 juice. Lock it. It's the best number by a landslide at any book, so you need to get here now. This needs to be the one that you run to the window and fire, because it's minus 120 just about everywhere else. It is a like when you start talking about minus 120, minus 130. So get here fast, get there to FanDuel Sportsbook and get it down. Minus 108 money line, lock on the Cubbies. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks MLB. Hit to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on Wednesday's slate. Check out Bet365 if you're in New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or Colorado. Look at those 4 states. They all sound like lovely states. You want to be firing up Bet365, betting depositing $10, betting $1, getting yourself $200 in the betting streets only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Alrighty, y'all, I'll be back on Thursday for, thank God, not a 15-game slate. These ones take it out of you. Really fun to put in the work, though. Thank you to producer Jacob. Great job here again today. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Wednesday.